Hey y'all, I'm Kelly here to give you the rundown on what happened in St. Louis City and County governments last week. So let's get into it because if we already ready, we ain't gotta get ready. So let's get into it, starting off with the city rundown. So I got three highlights for y'all as far as what happened last week. The first highlight during last week's HUD's, aka the Housing, Urban Development, and Zoning Committee meeting, Alderwoman Spencer discussed her bill, Board Bill 130, which, if passed, would involve eminent domain of the Railway Exchange building downtown. If y'all remember, this big ass building caught fire a few months ago, and there have been some issues with this owner's lack of giving a damn about at least making sure their property ain't a danger to the public. So the city is tired of being disrespected. They are on some Rodney Dangerfield type of energy, y'all. When it comes to this owner, and the city is looking to exercise its ultimate flex, and that's eminent domain. So, for folks that don't know, eminent domain is when the government takes land from a private property owner. Now, obviously, the city, they're going to pay them some coins, whatever, because it is a business transaction. But yeah, the city is basically deboning the land from the owner since they clearly ain't doing nothing with the property. Alderwoman Spencer's bill, it proposes eminent domain for the redevelopment of the Railway Exchange building. And in the bill, it doesn't provide a specific use or like what this redevelopment is going to give. They don't really know that yet. But what the bill does is it provides a tax incentive for whoever wants to buy the property. So it makes it a much more attractive deal. Now, check out Alderman Browning's $1 million question. And then the follow up responses from Alderwoman Spencer and Zach Wilson from the SLDC, aka the St. Louis Development Corporation.
Back end of this, after we attract a developer to do this, what kind of vetting exists to make sure that whoever takes control of this property is going to do a quality job of fixing it up, and that we're not going to give tax abatement to something that in 10 years' time will just be another problem?
That's a great question. I mean, I think that is something SLDC can answer, but at the end of the day, we have to have faith in our St. Louis Development Corporation to do that work on all tax abatements. The Board of Aldermen doesn't have the bandwidth to vet each property or each project. And so, I'll let Zach Wilson speak to that.
In the last several years, we've installed clawbacks in all redevelopment agreements. So when those things happen, we can claw back on the incentive and have a way to bring the developer back to the table. Like, you have to fix these problems or we take the tax abatement. So that's been installed in the last 5 to 6 years. And they have gotten stricter as we've dealt with certain problem developers in the past.
So there y'all go. Alderman Brown said, yo, how do we hold these folks accountable? Right? And you heard it from SLDC. They got some clawback. So if the developer ain't doing what they supposed to be doing, they got these tax breaks, they get these tax incentives, these abatements, yo, we're going to have to take that ish back. That's what he said. I'm just telling y'all what they said. So what was the final verdict with this bill? Well, the bill, it was passed out of the committee, and it will head to the full Board of Aldermen for its consideration for perfection, and ultimately, you guessed it, final passage.
Back end of this.
So the second highlight, everybody named Mama want to know how the city of St. Louis is going to spend its RAM settlement coins. During last Friday's Board of Aldermen meeting, Alderwoman Sonia introduced a resolution that lays out the Board of Aldermen's potential RAM settlement spending priorities based on what, you ask? Well, based on the feedback that residents and other folks that filled out the survey provided. So what are these potential priorities? So y'all can see it's on the slide. These potential priorities are attracting and retaining city workers, increasing public safety, improving the city's coins, the city's bag, its finances, upgrading water infrastructure, increasing access to affordable childcare, improving community mobility, and catalyzing downtown reinvestment. I have to stress, y'all, these are proposed spending priorities, which does not mean that this is what they priorities are going to be, period. That doesn't mean that. This resolution, as I said, it was introduced and it will be discussed in an upcoming legislation and rules committee meeting. And if passed out of there, then it will be discussed by the full board of aldermen. And y'all know this is a hot topic issue, so I'll be sure to keep y'all posted on, on what happens. And then the final city highlight. There were not one, but two public safety related bills that were finally passed by the full board of aldermen during their meeting last Friday. So the first bill is Board Bill 93, sponsored by Alderman Aldridge, and it really lays out the role of the Civilian Oversight Board and the Detention Facilities Oversight Board members. And we talked about this during on previous shows. And so the bill does a few things I want to lift up. So it increases the age from 16 to 18 for folks to be able to serve on the board. The bill allows anonymous complaint submissions about corrections officers. The bill shortens the timeline of detention facility oversight board training for members from 6 to 4 months. And the bill, it also provides language for when special counsel can be used. So the detention facility oversight board members can use, again, another attorney if they feel like there's a conflict of interest with this by using the city's counselor's office for legal counsel. So the second bill that was passed, Board Bill 107, also sponsored by Alderman Aldridge, bans the open carrying of firearms in the city of St. Louis. Now, there are exceptions. Obviously, 5-0, this don't apply to them. And also, this doesn't apply to folks if they want to sling their gun on their own property. So, yeah, but both of those bills were finally passed. And then moving along, y'all, to the St. Louis County rundown. So last week, the county council, during their committee of the whole meeting, they have more conversations about proposed 2024 budgets with the Department of Public Health, the Department of Revenue, and the Department of Human Services. Now, I'm not going to go into all of these different conversations and the budgets. Y'all can check it out on the Boxcast platform with St. Louis County if you're really interested to get into those budgets more than the information I'm going to provide. But I did want to highlight one aspect of one of these conversations, and that was with Dr. Cunningham, who's the director of the Department of Public Health. Now, she's proposing cutting some positions. This means, yes, she's talking about laying some people off from the health department, y'all. Now, check out this exchange between Councilwoman Days and Dr. Cunningham about this topic.
Earlier, we heard from the budget director that you were losing some positions. 26, I think, was what Mr. Crowley indicated, and I think your presentation at some point earlier with someone else had 16. Can you give me an idea about the discrepancy in those numbers, please?
Yes, it's 26 positions total. There's 10 that are vacant positions, and then the remaining 16 positions are layoff positions due to the reorganization of the health department. So for a total of 26.
And those were civil service positions?
Correct.
All right. But and when did you decide that a reorganization was necessary?
So during my time being there, I was appointed in January, and to equally prioritize everything within the health department, I've identified that we need to take a step back and restructure. So specifically in my Department of Administration, I have created a new Deputy Director of Administration position, as well as a Diversity Director position, as well as in the process of being created. The reason that I feel we need to reorganize is that we can focus equally on our public health, our clinics, as well as just the overall functioning of the health department as well, with having 3 strong leaders in place. And then the creation of the diversity director is something that internally, that for us to continue to serve the community using the equity lens, that the work starts inside, and that we can continue to serve our community, having someone there as an expert to guide us.
Okay, but you're looking at, you're decreasing 26 positions. You're adding, how many did you say? You're adding?
So it's 2. So yep, two positions are being added.
Are those
And I
merit,
must
are
come-
those merit positions?
Those will be merit positions. And once I do the reorganization, if I determine that I need to reopen those positions, that is still an option to reopen those positions. Just doing the doing the reorganization and prioritizing the health department. That is kind of what's going on right now.
Well, that does mean that we will approve of those. If you're eliminating some vacant positions or things like that, that means we would have to go back and approve those positions.
Right, to reopen the
those
positions.
if we decide to do that.
Correct.
First off, bless whose ever heart that was coughing. Bless them, bless them. But I guess my question also is, because so during the committee of the whole, obviously Councilwoman Days wasn't the only council person that had questions. The other council people had questions as well of Dr. Cunningham. And it did come up with some of the council people like, yo, like, we didn't know you were doing a reorganization, switching up y'all structure in the health department, but wouldn't this have come up during those collaborative budget meetings? Yeah, no. But what do I know? I'm just here talking as an outsider. So fast forward, because that meeting happened during their committee of the whole meeting, which was Tuesday afternoon. Fast forward a few hours later to the actual St. Louis County Council meeting, and those meetings are Tuesday evenings. So this proposed budget, the health department's budget, it was on the perfection order of business. And I want to stress, perfection is the step right before a bill is passed, y'all. Okay. So listen to how this vote went down.
Councilmember Days.
Aye.
Councilmember Dunaway.
Aye.
Councilmember Hancock.
No.
Councilmember Webb.
Aye.
Councilmember Clancy.
I've got some concerns about the cuts in this bill. I'm not ready to be in favor of it, so I'm a no.
Councilmember Tracus.
No.
Councilmember Harder.
No.
Madam Chair, on Bill number 233, there are 4 noes and 3 ayes.
Bill number 233 has failed.
Well, there y'all have it. It failed to be perfected. So what does that mean? I guess that process is going to have to start all over again. And I really don't know how that's going to work with time ticking to get the full 2024 budget passed by the end of the year. And like, we're now in holiday season, and y'all know holiday season really shortens the end of the year, anyway. So we'll see, to be continued. But I'll be sure to keep y'all posted on how this transpires. Most definitely.
Councilmember Days.
And then the last highlight I got for you. So y'all know St. Louis County been beefing with Bi-State, holding up Bi-State's coins for 2024 since there have been some concerns with its quality of service, especially with cholera, which services some of the most vulnerable populations in our region. Well, Toby Roach, who's the CEO of Bi-State, appeared before the St. Louis County Council during part of their public comment portion of their meeting. And so y'all know it's real. If this man came before the St. Louis County Council during a public comment portion of their meeting, you know it's real. But listen to what he had to say.
There are a couple of important announcements that I wanted to commit to in writing and publicly today as far as improving some of the service and moving forward. So for instance, that is in 3 areas specifically. In scheduling software, we have known as Trapeze, which is the normal software for the rides that are scheduled. We will be moving forward on a scheduling software, also with the phone system. Clearly, there's some disconnect there. Some of that does have to do with labor and for instance, the availability of folks behind that. But we can do some upgrades to that phone system, and we are committing to that right now. Also, we have already contracted with a independent ADA guru by the nationally recognized individual by the name of Jess Segovia out of LA. And he's gonna undertake a joint review of how we can do business better. Very simple concept. It's always good to keep our ears open, to listen to suggestions, both from the public and from the council. The idea is that we cannot get stuck in concrete. If there are new ideas, we need to pursue those. And for instance, some of the new ideas that we have been going through, and I have very good news tonight, is that we have had some extraordinary recruiting classes. As a matter of fact, record recruiting classes in the past 3 months. And that means as we're able to get these record recruiting classes, we can return some of the specific service that we had to reduce only because of labor, not because of cost. And so in the next few months, especially January and February, there will be some specific routes where we had reduced service from, for instance, 45 minutes to 30 minutes, et cetera, or something like an hour down to from 30 minutes to an hour. And we'll be able to put those rides in and those employees, as we're seeing right now, within January and February of this year. And as a matter of fact, even in December. Then in March, as we are able to recover, especially on call a ride, and we have several call a ride operators in training, we will be able to look at those issues. So there's no question that the bonus is helping. The new contract with 788 is helping, both in retention. And I just wanted to be sure to update the council on those issues tonight. Thank you.
Y'all, I don't know about you, but to me, Mr. Roach sounds like he is begging and pleading to get back with his woman after he done did her dirty. He done did her wrong so many times. And he's like, please, baby, please, baby, I promise I'm going to do right by you. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to cook for you. I'm going to rub your feet for you. I'm going to do all those things. Just take me back, baby. So that is what that sounded like to me. But let me stop playing. On a serious note, I do have to shout out some of the folks that have come to the county council meetings these past few weeks, speaking their truth about their horrible experiences with service they've received from Bi-State. The folks providing their comments, they're dealing with some serious mobility issues, and they made it to Clayton on Tuesday evenings consistently to make their voices heard. And that really made a difference because the St. Louis County Council has been holding up Bi-State's 2024 coins as a result of what they've heard from the public. Now, I'm gonna get on my soapbox for a second here, y'all, real quick. My North County fam, because I want to know, there were people that came consistently to Clayton and made it there by 6:30 p.m. on Tuesdays for weeks at a time. And these folks, some of them were blind, and the folks there had a variety of different disabilities. And they didn't even have a car. They didn't have their own vehicle. They didn't have their own way to make it there. But they made it there to make sure that their voices were heard. So again, my North County fam, my question to y'all is, what's y'all's excuse in doing the same thing? All right, I'm gonna hop off my soapbox and get back to the business at hand. So fast forward, the meeting continued, and Bi-State's proposed 2024 budget bill, it came up during the perfection order of business, which again, that's the step right before the bill it's finally passed. And so when it was up for perfection, obviously there was discussion that ensued, and Councilman Tracus kick it off with the discussion about this bill.
Last week, we heard from the vast majority of speakers all the problems they've encountered. You've heard some again tonight, mostly coming from people least able to deal with the problems that Bi-State presents them. Then, last week, we hear that Councilman Harder has negotiated on his own certain arrangements with Bi-State that, according to Councilman Harder, we identified deficiencies in the system. I think we help both people and those who need, quote, call a ride assistance in this region, close quote. Who's we? I was not part of that conversation. I don't know if any other council members were. What type of deal was struck? Was it just Mr. Harder and Mr. Roach? And for the record, I saw Mr. Roach come into the council chamber tonight from the office section of the council, followed closely by Councilman Harder's assistant. Just for the record. It's no secret, Bi-State might be the single most mismanaged entity that has anything to do with county government and certainly spends county funds. It's systemic and never ending. And so if we're going to use the words of the one lady tonight, ask the council for help, let's help these people. Let's hold a committee of the whole with this entity and hear more about what their real plans are, not what they expect to happen after they get their money. Everything's always, oh, in February, in March. And then we won't hear from Mr. Roach again for another year until the money's coming due.
Damn. Well, all righty. All righty, Councilman Tracus. And now you know, Councilman Harder, he has to respond. Listen to what he had to say.
I want to set the record straight. First off, there's no discussion or negotiation. Mr. Roach came to me and said, what are the things that are a concern of mine? And after listening to the testimony the last couple of weeks and the meetings that Mr. Tracus was at or not at, I said, I thought the biggest issue here was the call-a-ride system and the call-a-ride technology that they were using was antiquated. And I said that you won't get my vote unless these things are added to this bill. And so that was my opinion. Everybody else can form their own opinion. And Mr. Roach responded accordingly and said they were already working on it. We're going to move forward with those changes anyway. So I was not negotiating on anybody's part. You guys can all talk to them. You can talk to Mr. Roach with your concerns. He was open to my concerns. That's all I had. So stop the accusation.
Whoop. He said, quit playing, because y'all be talking to them too. So don't be coming for me. All right. Now, Chairwoman Webb, she also had her 2 cents to add. So listen to what she had to say.
Mr. Roach also and his colleague reached out to me to ask what were some of my concerns. And even in the exact meeting when this first came about, I said, we cannot have a deaf ear to the concerns of the constituents. And they've come at a great price to make sure their voices are heard. And I expressed to Mr. Toby that I don't need checkbox. I need to move the needle to make sure that something is done to address those concerns. In addition to those concerns, there was also some rollover from last year when there were lines cut from North County, and then the lines that remained, they had limited service on them or elongated pickup times. And so I had to be honest and transparent with Mr. Roach and his colleagues. It's like, I only see you when it's this time. And I need some type of assurance that these issues from both North County and from the disabled community are addressed properly and thoroughly. Now, I know that we don't control your operating, and when I say you, I'm referring to by state, their operations. We only control the purse strings or their budget, as all we'll refer to. But we have to make sure that we're leveraging that authority appropriately. Now, I am going to work in good faith with Mr. Toby Roach and his leadership team to make sure that you know that you've done what I've asked, address some of those concerns, and then I will work in good faith to say, yes, I can perfect this bill, but there is plenty of work to be done. We often tell our constituents we're working on their behalf, and they only have our word. And so that is a very vital piece of my commitment to my community, Mr. Roach, and you know that. And so when I step out today and say, come to the microphone and tell me what you've done to address some of these issues and what you will be doing, that is me holding all the accountability that I can before you receive your budget. Again, I'm trying to show good work, working in good faith as well. So, Councilman Tracus, I understand the frustration. I understand the hesitation. I am trying to have us move forward in a way that each party can be held accountable. And that's the best that we can do. I'm just being open about it. Councilman Tracus.
The only way you're going to hold by state accountable is to hold those purse strings and not approve their budget until you see solid commitments, contracts, not promises that, oh, recruitment's going great, we're going to have more people in February. That's been going on for the whole 7 years I've been here.
Damn, I'm sorry, but Councilman Tracus is giving me so much 3LW energy right now. You know, he getting tired of them broken promises. Okay, that's what he said. He tired of it. He tired of it. Let me stop playing with these people. So after all of that back and forth, and there was more discussion amongst the council members. But after all of that, what was the final verdict? The bill, it ended up getting perfected, and it will be considered for final passage this week. Ooh, child, I know. There's a lot to that. So just like church, we got announcements after our program. So we got two for you tonight. So first, please, 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 if you have yet to do so, make sure you register for our big reveal event. It will be held on Wednesday, December 6th at 6 p.m. at the Deaconess Foundation. And we will be feeding people for free. We even will be taking care of your kids if you need to bring them too. So bring them too. But before you do that, just make sure you email me to let me know you coming at kelly@transform314.org. So during this event, we will reveal the feedback we got from our over 2-month campaign as far as what folks are willing to advocate for the betterment of their communities, built environments. And we're going to be revealing what we're going to do with the information we got from residents. So make sure you register, and I hope to see y'all there that night. The second announcement, the city is undergoing they're updating their strategic land use plan. So what the hell is this, and why should you give a damn about it? So everybody named mama always be talking to me about how they are tired. There's all this development happening in the city of St. Louis, and it feels like all this development is happening to us, right? Not with us, let alone for us. And so the strategic land use plan, basically, it lays the foundation as far as how the land can and can't be used, which also means it determines what type of development can and can't happen in every block of the city, including ours, right? Including yours. And so this this plan, it hasn't been updated in like 20 years. The city is updating it now. So y'all, we need to make sure we are engaged and involved in this process. I know there is a survey out there for folks to weigh in and provide feedback. There will also be a whole bunch of different public engagement events. There was just one this past Monday at Forest Park. So I really, really, really hope that y'all really go follow the strategic land use plan, its processes and how they moving and what they doing on Instagram, because you already own her. So make sure you follow them at SLUP_STL. So again, make sure you're engaged and involved and your voice is heard, because these changes is happening with or without you. So make sure they're happening with you. Yeah, because it's happening, y'all. We got to be at the table too with these folks. So that's all I have for y'all tonight. Please have a safe, enjoyable Thanksgiving, and stay shining. Until next time, peace.